Rocky Mountain Materials is a locally owned company. Our owner lives in Colorado Springs and started the company as a small excavation company. Eventually grew into 3 asphalt plants and 2 concrete plants. We have 5 operating quarries right now and approximately 350 to 400 employees during the summertime. Annual production is somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million tons of aggregate processed through our plants. My name is Tom Smith. I'm the general manager for Rocky Mountain Materials and Asphalt. Currently at our Penrose Ranch quarry operation where we mine all of our concrete rock and some asphalt materials. This site will probably ship about 500,000 tons of rock this year between asphalt and concrete materials both and washed highway chips. So we currently have 3 JCI cones, a K300, a K400, and a 300 plus. We have 5 JCI screen decks. 3 of those are dry screens, 2 of them are on wash plants. And we have a JCI sand screw and a couple of stacking conveyors. We bought our first plant in 2003. I've just slowly upgraded our equipment since then. This site, we have a feed hopper and then about 800 feet of overland conveyor feeding into the jaw crusher. From the jaw crusher, we scalp off the natural sand and then we send that directly to the wash plant. So everything else goes through the K300 plant and a 7x20 dry screen before it goes to the wash plant for finishing. So approximately 2 years ago, Eric Smallwood wanted to get involved in our cone liner usage and wanted those sales enough that he went out and bought a belt scale to put on our plant and started tracking tonnage on not only his liners but Rimtech liners that we were using, and we've tested a couple others in the process and found out that we're getting the most wear life and the best value per dollar out of the JCI liners.
I think that the scale was the trick to this whole job. Is it took the guesswork out of it. It wasn't going off of bucket counts or an hourly deal or a monthly deal. It was exactly how many tons we ran through your cone over a given amount of time, whether it was 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, depending on their workload. But we knew for sure exactly how many tons of aggregate were produced through his cone, and then we could correspond that back to who had the best bang for their buck.
We ran a full set of liners of 4 or 5 different manufacturers and compared tonnage at the end of that versus the cost of the liners to see which one made the most sense. Most of the testing was done on overall tons of production for a set of liners. We're feeding pretty much consistently the same material all the time. So really we were looking to get the most tons produced out of the dollar that we were spending. This is the first time we've done it with a belt scale. We've done it in the past just by bucket counts and what my guys say they're putting through the plant, but we found that it was inconsistent. Would we do it again? Sure we would. It's always good to have that information. I think the numbers are as accurate as they can get at this point. Using the belt scale, I don't think you can get any more accurate than that.
So the first thing we did is we compared the initial weight of our cone liners versus our competitors. We had like 400 or 500 pounds that we were heavier. We had more meat on the bone. To our customers, I'm saying, we, Power Motive or JCI, are offering you a better value, cost per pound of manganese, if you will, because we start with more. So how that translates to their success in the field is, we've learned that if our cone liners should earn 50% of their initial weight before they're 100% exhausted. So for example, if our cone liners weigh 5,000 pounds new, then we want to see 2,500 pounds when they're removed. 2,400 is better, 2,300 is better yet. Not all of our competitors could hit that industry standard of 50%, where ours hit it repeatedly day in and day out.
So I guess from our original test on the Rimtech liners, we got 176,000 tons out of a set of liners. On the Amcast, I believe is what the liners were, was 175,000 tons, so those two were very comparable. On the JCI liners, we ended up getting 208,000 tons produced on that set of liners. So the JCI liner is a little bit more expensive to buy, but when you calculate it out to tons per hour and not as frequent a liner change, it works out to a more efficient product. So when it was all calculated out, it worked out to about a 16% savings on our cone liners. So running 3 JCI cones and changing liners 3 to 4 times a year, that 16% savings is going to calculate out to $25,000 to $30,000 savings per year. For us, Eric put all the effort into realizing the savings, so for us it's a savings on labor and downtime. It keeps the plant up more.
Since they're manufactured by JCI, we know they're going to fit. There's other competitors that you may have to make modifications to fit their product into our machines, but since we know JCI engineered the machines, we know they're engineering the liners, I'm very confident that it has a good fit, that it's going to fit in the field when it counts.
American made, for us, regardless of the parts turnaround, we'd rather see those jobs stay in America and buy American made machines. So we don't put a lot of effort into buying machines that are built outside of the US. Quality parts are important for uptime. Your production totally depends on your machine operating every day, and aside of the quality parts, the customer service and the support and the backing that we get to make sure that those things are there are important as well. And we have that with Powermotive and JCI. As far as other competitors, we've seen all sides of the spectrum. I've had plants that were down for a whole weekend because somebody wouldn't go get parts for us. So Powermotive's willing to go above and beyond to keep things going. I mean, 2 weeks ago we had a plant that came up with a hole in a set of liners on a Sunday, and Eric came into work on Sunday morning and went and got liners for us and delivered them to the pit and got us back up and going that day instead of waiting until Monday. That's the kind of thing that it takes to keep going. In 2003, when we started upgrading our plants, we started looking for plants that were going to perform, and we were not only getting into new technology, but we were getting into machines that were going to last, machines that were going to run every day, and machines that we could work on and be supported by our dealer. And other manufacturers at the time were having problems with their machines, and JCI was at the head of the market, so that's the direction we went.